And good morning, early morning to YouTube. By the way, best root beer on the planet. The best root beer on the planet. All right, we had 12 games on the dock tonight. And so remember, if you haven't come across this video and happen to like it, give me that thumbs up tool. It's very important. Helps to keep the channel going. So let's get right into it. Starting off with Toronto at Boston. Entering this matchup, Toronto was 35-20-2 and 72 points. Boston was 27-24 and 761 points. This game had to go to extra period, and the Boston Bruins lose to the score of 5-4. Okay. Oh my shoot! I had a hair. Shots on goal were the Leafs 29, the Bruins 36. The Maple Leafs had 32 saves with the Bruins 24. Toronto was 1 for 4 in the power play with Boston 2 for 6 on Papa. And Toronto wins the series 3-0-1, and they outscored the Bruins 18-12 in this series. Yeah, they and it was a 4 game series, and Boston only wins 1 game. But Boston was ahead after 1 period, and then after two, Boston was still ahead, and it was pretty neck and neck. It was 3-1 after um, 2 periods. Toronto was trying, and then all of a sudden they kicked on the afterburners and said, "Hey, you're not going to beat us. We're going to beat you." And they scored 3 in the third. Boston, they tied it. It was tied after 3, and somehow Toronto wins. I'm not disappointed in Boston. They did get a point, which is very good. I'm proud of that. But Boston just couldn't withstand Toronto. So way to go by Toronto for winning this game, getting the 2. But way to go Boston for getting at least 1 point. But overall, this game was pretty evenly matched. It was pretty even. It was pretty neck and neck. Next was the Ducks at the Sabres. Entering the matchup, the Ducks were 25, 24, and 7 and 57 points. The Sabres were 23, 27, and 5 and 51 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Anaheim Ducks lose to the Buffalo Sabres by a score of 3-2. Shots on goal were the Sabres 35, the Ducks 18. The Sabres had 16 saves with the Ducks 32. Buffalo was 0 for 3 on the power play with Anaheim 2 for 4 on the power play. And by the way, Buffalo wins the series 2 games to nothing, 2-0-0, and they outshot Anaheim 6-4 on goals. Um, for a while, this was all the Ducks. It was 2-0 after 2 periods. The Ducks were like, "Hey, we're going to beat you guys. We're going to do it." But somehow Buffalo were like, in the third, in the second intermission, they were like, "Okay, we got to do something. We got to get our butts in gear," and they did, and they scored 3 unanswered goals. Way to go by Buffalo. That's why they won this game by doing right. So way to go by Buffalo. Um, the Ducks did try, but it was pretty much evenly matched all the way through this game. Um, but Buffalo wanted it more. That's why they won. Next was Carolina and Montreal. Entering this matchup, Carolina was 33, 20, and 4 and 70 points. Montreal was 26, 26, and 5 and 7 points at the end of 60 minutes. The the Canadiens beat the Hurricanes by the score of 4-0, and it's a Pepsi Zero Sugar shutout. Shots on goal were 18 for the Habs, the Canes 20. The Canadiens had 20 saves with the Hurricanes 14. Montreal was 2 for 5 on the power play with Carolina 0 for 3 on the power play. Total domination by Montreal. They were really doing what they can to stop Carolina, and that's what they did. It was just total domination by Montreal. Montreal dominated, and Carolina could not counter, and that's why they lost. So I'm kind of disappointed of Carolina, but you can't win them all, folks. So that's why Carolina lost. But you know the next game is coming up, so wish them well. Next was the Pittsburgh Penguins at the um, Philadelphia Flyers. Entering this matchup, Pittsburgh was 23, 27, and 9 and 55 points. Philadelphia 25, 26, and 7 and 57 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Philadelphia Flyers beat the Pittsburgh Penguins by a score of 6-1. That's right, 6-1. Shots on goal were the Flyers 38, the Pens 24. The Flyers had 23 saves with the Penguins 32. Philadelphia was 0 for 3 on the power play with Pittsburgh 0 for 2 on the power play. What can I say about this one? This was total domination by the Flyers. I mean, they started off in the first period and they just did not let up. Of course, they did let Pittsburgh get that one goal, but overall, total domination by the Pens. I mean, by the Flyers. The Flyers just did. And this is the Battle of Pennsylvania, folks. So there's one more game left coming up. And you never know what can happen. I think Pittsburgh is going to be after revenge for this one. We'll find out. But you never know. All right, next was, but yeah, so, but Philadelphia got going. They got the two. Next was Calgary at Washington. Entering the matchup, Calgary was 27, 21, and 8 and 62 points. Washington was 38, 11, and 8 and 84 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Calgary Flames beat the Washington Capitals by a score of 3-1. And by the way, Alex Ovechkin scored that goal. So he is now 12 away from breaking the record, 11 to tie. Anything can happen, folks. And remember, folks, if you want a Alex Ovechkin jersey, okay? Remember, if you want an Alex Ovechkin jersey in the contest, I'm doing a contest. I'm doing two contests. This one is, do you think Ovechkin will score at least one goal? If he scores at least one goal, you say yes, you're in. And I'll draw your when if I draw your name, you will win a Alex Ovechkin jersey, either home, road, alternate, or if you like, I can get a retro Alex Ovechkin Mitchell and Ness jersey of your choosing of the white or the road at the time. They're both available on Mitchell and Ness. You tell me which one you want, and I'll literally get it for you. I will literally get it for you in your favorite size. An Alex Ovechkin retro jersey or current jersey. Okay, that's if you do it, but that's for the next game. Okay, you gotta wait until the next game to do that. Okay, so Shots on goal were the Flames 25, the Caps 27. The Flames had 26 saves with the Capitals 22. Calgary was over 2 on the power play with Washington 1 for 3 on the power play. And by the way, the series is tied, and tied in goals 4-4. Both teams were 1-0 in this series. So they were evenly matched all the way through. Um, about this game. Um, it was pretty. It was pretty much all Calgary. After one, it was 2-0, and then still 2-0, and they both scored a goal in the third period. All the veterans scored that goal. Pretty much, this was domination by Calgary with a little reinforcement by Washington, but Washington could not overcome Calgary's dominance. That's why Calgary won. Um, I'm kind of disappointed in Washington not winning, but you can't win them all, and that's why Calgary won. They're staying in the hunt for the playoffs, and they know Washington's in, so they that's why they won. Another thing is Calgary is fighting for the playoff lives. They're literally fighting for the playoff lives, so that's why they won. So way to go. Next was the Dallas Stars at Columbus. Currently, the Dallas Star going into the matchup. Dallas was 37, 18, and 2 and 16. 76 points. Columbus was 27, 22, and 8 and 62 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Dallas Stars lose to the Columbus Blue Jackets by a score of 6-4. Shots on goal were the Jackets 29 and the Stars 23. The Blue Jackets had 19 saves with with the Stars 23. Columbus was 0 for 2 on the power play with Dallas 0 for 3 on the power play. This series was tied, also tied in goals, 9 each. Both teams went 1-0, just like the last series. What to say about this one? This one was pretty evenly matched, I had to say. It was a pretty good game by both teams. Um, Even though Dallas lost, they put up a good fight. I had to say they played a good 60 minutes. Um, but yeah, but Columbus they wanted to win more. That's why they won this game by a score of 6-4. And so yeah, way to go by Columbus. They really did take advantage of the game, especially they got that empty netter at the end. So, but way to go by Columbus. They did a good job. Next was Edmonton at Tampa. Edmonton and Tampa. Entering this matchup, Edmonton was 34, 19, and 4 and 72 points. Tampa was 32, 20, and 4 and 68 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Edmonton Oilers by a score of 4-1. Shots on goal were the Bolts 36, the Oilers 24. The um um there the Lightning had 23 saves with the Oilers 32. Tampa was over 3 on the power. 1 for 3 on the power play with Edmonton 1-for-1 on the power. And once again, the series was tied, but Tampa wins on goals by a difference of 5-3, and both teams were 1-0 in the series. What to say about this one? It was evenly matched until the second period. That's when Tampa was like, "Nope, you're not going to beat us. We're going to take over and we win." And that's what happened. That's what literally happened. Tampa put on the Jets, and that's why they beat the Edmonton Oilers. And it was a pretty good game. And Overall, it was a good game. Um, Edmonton just couldn't withstand Tampa. That's their. A lot of teams are playing for their playoff lives, and Tampa, they're pretty much in. But Edmonton, they're pretty much in too. But every point and win is crucial at this point. So we'll wait and see what happens. But good going by Tampa, and not bad effort by Edmonton. Next was the Rangers at the Islanders. Entering this matchup, the New York Rangers are 28, 25, and 4 and 60 points. The Islanders 25, 24, and 7 and 57 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the New York Rangers beat the New York Islanders by a score of 5-1. Shots on goal were the Rangers 18, the Owls 37. The Rangers had 36 saves with the Islanders 13, and both teams were 0 for 1 on the power play. What to say about this matchup? Total domination by the Rangers. I mean, they flat out dominated this game from puck drop. When the puck dropped, the Rangers are like, we're going to dominate you guys, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. And the Islanders are like, oh man. But overall, this was a pretty good game by the Rangers. Um, the Islanders just would take them, and that's why they lost to the Rangers. There's still more games left in the series, so we'll wait and see what happens. Next, my Blues at home against the Seattle Kraken. Entering this matchup, the Kraken Seattle was 25, 30, and 4 and 54 points. The Blues 26, 26, and 6 and 58 points. At the end of 60 minutes, the Blues beat the Kraken by the score of 7. That's right, 7-2. That's right, they won. Yes, yes. Shots on goal were the Blue. Both teams had 27 saves. 27 shots. Both teams had 27 shots. The Blues had 25 saves with the Kraken 20. The St. Louis was 1 for 2 on the power play with Seattle over 2 on the power play. From the get go, the Blues dominated this game. They were up 2-0 after 1. Then it was 6-0 after 2. And the Blues just kept the afterburners going despite 2 goals. It could have been 8-2, but they just said no goal on one, which was clearly a goal. It was a high sticking call. The referees blew that call, which I think the Blues should have challenged, but they didn't. But overall, great game by the Blues. We're proud of you guys. Let's keep this momentum running. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going, guys. We can do this. So way to go by the Blues. Oh, and by the way, there is one more matchup left in this series. So we'll wait and see what happens. Next is the Florida Panthers at the Nashville Predators. Entering this matchup, Florida was 34, 21, and 3 and 71 points. Nashville 20, 29, and 7 and 47 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Florida Panthers beat the Nashville Predators by a score of 4-1. Shots on goal were the Panthers 25, the Preds 19. Florida had 18 saves with the Predators 21. Florida went 1 for 5 on the power play with Nashville over 2 on the power play. And Florida wins the series 2-0 and no OTLs. So 2-0-0. And Florida outscored Nashville by a score of 10-3. 10-3. Let's say about this one. Total domination by the Panthers. They did a great job. it was 2-0 after two, and um, Florida just did what they could to win, and that's what they did. They put two insurance goals in. Nashville did spoiled the shutout by getting one in the third, but Florida did a great job and way to go by them. So I am it's good going, and they're staying in the hunt. It's back and forth in the Atlantic Division. It's going like this in the Atlantic. It's going like this. It's Florida. It's the other. It's going like this, back and forth between Florida and the other team. It's going. I think it's going to take down to this season. The end of the season, who's going to win the Atlantic? So we'll wait and see. Next was my upset special of the night. The Detroit Red Wings at the Minnesota Wild. And as you know, I picked Minnesota, but they did not win. I'll get to that. Current Going into the matchup, Detroit was 29, 22, and 6 and 64 points. Minnesota 34, 19, and 4 and 72 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Detroit Red Wings beat the Minnesota Wild by a score of 3-2. Shots on goal were the Red Wings 16, the Wild 24. The Wings had 22 saves with the Wild 13. Detroit went over 1 on the power play with Minnesota 1 for 2 on the power play. And this series was tied 1-1 or 1 each. But Detroit wins the series by the points 1-1, 3 points, and they were tied in the goals 6 each. So, but Detroit wins the series mainly on the points, going 1-1. So, way to go by Detroit. Well, what can I say about this matchup? After Minnesota dominated the first period, Detroit was like, "Nope, you're not going to beat us." And it was tied after two, and then Detroit gets that insurance goal. Overall, not a bad series, not a bad game. Minnesota did try, but you know, could overcome. And it was pretty. And you don't have to say total domination by Detroit. This was an evenly matched game. Both teams played a full 60-minute game, so way to go by the Wild, and way to go by Detroit. Detroit proved that they wanted to win. That's why they did it. And finally, the Blackhawks at the hockey club. I gotta get you saying this. Going into this matchup, Chicago was 17-33 and 741 points. Utah 25, 24, and 9 and 59 points. And at the end of 60 minutes, the Utah Hockey Club beat the Chicago Blackhawks by the score of 2-1. And double check this real fast. Check the series. Yeah, they got a few more games left. Okay. Shots on goal were Utah 30. Hockey Club 36. The Hawks 22. Hockey Club had 21 saves with the Blackhawks 31. Utah went 0 for 5 on the power play with Chicago 1 for 2 on the power play. This was an evenly matched game, I have to say. This was pretty good by both teams. Um, Chicago come out firing first, and it was 1-0 after one, then 1-1 after two, and Utah just won. They get that insurance goal. That's why they won. But it was evenly matched between both teams. So way to go by both teams. Even though I'm not a fan of Chicago, they did play a pretty good game and decent game. So I'm not gonna complain. I hate that team. I hate them because see, folks, I live in Illinois, but I live close to St. Louis. I am just about 6 miles from downtown St. Louis. And I will never root for Chicago, folks. Literally, I will never. And that's it, folks. We're done for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. And by the way, if you want to know what happened tonight, I went 6-5-1 in my record tonight for a total of 13 points. That put me at 244, 143, and 36 for a total of 500. Total of 526 points for the night or for the year. Not bad. As always, folks, please stay safe. Take care. Remember, the Lord's watching it, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.